Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. India overtakes Japan to become fourth largest economy. IMD declares early onset of monsoon over Kerala. Time to shift from Chief Justice-Centric Supreme Court, says Supreme Court judge. Kerala declared emergency after container ship capsized near its coast. Northeast emerging as a strategic trade bridge and gateway to ASEAN, says Prime Minister. India WHO partners to mainstream ICHI globally through a landmark agreement on traditional medicine. In a major economic milestone, India has overtaken Japan to become the fourth largest economy in the world. This development has been highlighted in the recent World Economic Outlook by the International Monetary Fund. The United States continues to lead with a GDP of $30.507 trillion. Followed by China at $19.231 trillion and Germany at $4.744 trillion. India has now reached $4.187 trillion, surpassing Japan, which stands at $4.186 trillion. So what are the key drivers behind this significant economic leap? Let's begin with structural factors. Urbanization and rising aspirations are leading to an increase in per capita income and lifestyle consumption. India is also benefiting from its demographic dividend, with a current median age of approximately 29 years. Furthermore, strong domestic demand with private consumption contributing nearly 70% to GDP is playing a central role. Moving on to policy drivers, the implementation of taxation and business reforms such as GST, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code or IBC, and corporate tax cuts have bolstered the economic framework. Additionally, there has been a major push for infrastructure development through initiatives like the National Infrastructure Pipeline and PM Gati Shakti. Programs like Atmanirbhar Bharat and the Production Linked Incentive or PLI scheme are further strengthening economic resilience. From the technological front, India's progress has been propelled by digital public infrastructure, including UPI and the JAM Trinity. Alongside this, there is strong global demand for Indian IT, software exports, and consulting services, all contributing to economic momentum. On the external and global factors front, India has seen increased foreign direct investment or FDI inflows, while global supply chain rebalancing strategies like China Plus One and the Supply Chain Resilience Initiative are playing to India's advantage. And looking ahead, the future prospects for the Indian economy appear promising. India is well positioned to become the third largest economy in the next 2.5 to 3 years. One major factor is the energy transition, with rapid growth in renewable energy capacity targeting 500 gigawatts by 2030. And India's leadership in global platforms such as the International Solar Alliance or ISA, placing the country as a front-runner in green growth. Additionally, regulatory stability through reforms in the banking sector, such as bank recapitalization, and the presence of strong regulatory institutions like the RBI, are ensuring long-term macroeconomic stability.
Moving on, the India Meteorological Department or IMD has declared the early onset of monsoon over Kerala, 8 days ahead of its usual schedule. Normally, the southwest monsoon sets in over Kerala around the 1st of June. The last time such an early onset happened was back in 2009. Now, let's understand why this early onset took place. One of the key reasons is the Maiden-Julian Oscillation or MJO, an atmosphere-ocean coupled phenomenon in the tropics that enhanced cloud and wind patterns favoring early rainfall. Adding to this, the Mascarene High, a high-pressure system near the Mascarene Islands in the South Indian Ocean, intensified the monsoon flow towards India. Alongside increased convection, which is the vertical transport of heat and moisture in the atmosphere, also contributed to this early rainfall. Then there's the Somali Jet, a low-level, cross-equatorial wind band originating near Mauritius and North Madagascar. It strengthened the monsoon currents over the Arabian Sea. Also playing a crucial role was the heat low and intense low pressure area below normal pressure along the continent surrounding the Arabian Sea. This acts like a suction device, pulling in moist air along the monsoon trough and enhancing rainfall over India. Speaking of which, the monsoon trough, an elongated low-pressure area extended from the heat low to the North Bay of Bengal, has also shifted southward, leading to active monsoon conditions across the country. Now, according to the IMD guidelines, there are specific criteria that must be met to officially declare the monsoon onset. Firstly, rainfall. At least 60% of the 14 listed stations, including Minikoy, Amini, and Tiruvananthapuram, must report rainfall of 2.5 mm or more for 2 consecutive days. Secondly, the wind field. The depth of westerlies should be maintained up to 600 hectopascals, and the zonal wind speed at 925 hectopascals must fall within the range of 15 to 20 knots. As we know, westerly winds blow from west to east in the 30 to 60 degree latitudes, both in the northern and southern hemispheres. And finally, the outgoing long wave radiation, or OLR, captured by satellites like INSAT should be below 200 watts per square meter. OLR, in simple terms, is a measure of the energy emitted to space by the Earth's surface, oceans, and atmosphere.
In a significant observation, a Supreme Court judge has stated that it is time to shift from Chief Justice-Centric Supreme Court. The judge remarked that the Supreme Court must instead function more democratically, much like the high courts which operate through committees and administrative bodies. To understand the implications of this observation, let's take a closer look at the stature of the Chief Justice of India, as explained in the landmark case, State of Rajasthan versus Prakash Chand. The Chief Justice of India, or the CJI, is the highest ranking officer of the Indian judiciary. In his capacity as a judge, the CJI is considered primus inter pares, or the first among equals. However, in the discharge of his other functions, the CJI occupies a position which is sui generis, in a class by itself. Now, moving on to the issue of the disproportionate power wielded by the Chief Justice of India. As a master of the roster, the CJI has the exclusive prerogative to constitute benches and allocate cases, a power that significantly influences judicial outcomes. This was highlighted in the case of Shanti Bhushan versus Supreme Court of India 2018. Additionally, when it comes to constitution bench assignments, the CJI often allocates such cases to themselves, thereby controlling major judicial decisions. For instance, the CJI is almost never in the minority in constitution bench cases. There have been only 14 dissents since 1950. Furthermore, the CJI exercises control over case listing. This means the CJI can delay the hearing of cases by withholding the constitution of a bench, which in turn can be used to avoid taking decisions on controversial matters. This has a direct impact on the timely delivery of justice. Adding to this, the administrative power for determining the work structure of the court and the registry also exclusively vests in the Chief Justice of India. However, efforts have been made over the years to democratize the Supreme Court. One such step was in 2018 when the then CJI made the judges' roster public, following concerns about case allocation. This was accompanied by the introduction of a subject-wise roster system. In 2019, the Supreme Court declared the CJI a public authority in the Subhash Chandra Agrawal case through a 5-judge constitution bench ruling under the RTI Act. The Supreme Court also mandated the public declaration of judges' assets, making them available on the website for the first time. And more recently, in 2025, the Supreme Court further enhanced transparency by uploading the judicial appointment processes for high courts and the Supreme Court on its website, aiming to promote greater public awareness. This marks a continuing conversation about transparency, accountability, and the balance of power within the judiciary.
Kerala has declared a state of emergency after a container ship capsized near its coast, triggering major environmental concerns. The Indian Coast Guard is now on high alert, worried about a possible ecological disaster due to an oil spill and the presence of a dangerous chemical, calcium carbide, on board the Liberian ship. Now, here's why this is serious. Calcium carbide is a hazardous chemical that reacts violently with seawater, producing highly flammable acetylene gas. So, what exactly is an oil spill? An oil spill refers to the release of liquid petroleum hydrocarbons into the environment, especially in marine areas, usually due to human activities. These spills can come from sources like crude oil, diesel, or petroleum, typically leaking from tankers, offshore platforms, drilling rigs, or wells. Now, let's talk about the impact. Oil spills poison algae, disrupt food chains, and reduce the yield of edible crustaceans. They endanger fish hatcheries, contaminate the flesh of commercial valuable fish, and severely affect fish larvae and free-swimming organisms. Tar particles that settle in the water also impact benthic organisms like clams and mussels. But how do we deal with an oil spill? There are some key technologies currently in use. One is bioremediation, using bacteria to break down harmful hydrocarbons. TERI, or the Energy and Resources Institute, has developed two such agents, Oil Zapper and Oilivorous S. These convert the oil into harmless carbon dioxide and water. Another method involves sorbents, materials that absorb the oil. For example, fibers from the milkweed plant, commonly found in Rajasthan, are proving to be very effective. Then there are oil booms, large floating barriers with skirts that extend into the water to contain the spill physically. And finally, skimmers, machines that collect and remove oil from the water surface. They work by concentrating the oil first and then skimming it efficiently. Now shifting focus to regulatory frameworks that guide oil spill management, both in India and globally. In India, the key laws are Merchant Shipping Act 1958. It regulates shipping, includes pollution control provisions, and adopts MARPOL conventions for comprehensive maritime governance. Second is National Oil Spill Disaster Contingency Plan of 1996. Here, the Indian Coast Guard acts as the nodal agency, coordinating oil spill responses in India's maritime zones. On the global front, first is MARPOL 1973. This is an international convention aimed at preventing marine pollution from ships with specific annexes that address oil pollution prevention and control. Second is Bunker Convention of 2001. This holds ship owners liable for bunker oil pollution, ensures comprehensive victim compensation, and mandates compulsory insurance coverage. So, while the situation off Kerala's coast is alarming, there is a structured legal and technological framework in place to help contain and manage the damage.
Moving ahead, the Prime Minister has recently underlined the growing significance of Northeast India, stating that the region is emerging as a strategic trade bridge and gateway to ASEAN. He also laid out a new policy framework for the region, encapsulated in the vision of East: empower, act, strengthen, and transform. Let's now explore the strategic significance of Northeast India that supports this vision. Beginning with regional connectivity, the Northeast serves as India's gateway to Southeast Asia, playing a vital role in strengthening the Act East policy. For example, major projects such as the India-Myanmar-Thailand Trilateral Highway and the Kaladan Multimodal Transit Transport Project are actively enhancing regional connectivity. Moving on to economic integration, the region is witnessing rapid expansion in local infrastructure. Projects like the Sela Tunnel in Arunachal Pradesh and a new semiconductor plant in Assam are set to further boost India-ASEAN trade from the current $125 billion to $200 billion within a decade. Next, addressing the security dimension, it is important to note that the Northeast shares borders with China, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Bhutan, placing it on the front line of India's national security. A key example is the Siliguri corridor, commonly known as the Chicken's Neck, which serves as a critical link connecting the Northeast to the rest of India. Further highlighting the region's diverse potential, the Prime Minister described the Northeast 8 states as Ashtalakshmis, referring to the 8 forms of goddess Lakshmi. He listed several sectors where the region is emerging as a hub: bioeconomy, bamboo, tea production, petroleum, sports, and ecotourism. To support this growing importance, key regional initiatives are underway to boost connectivity in the Northeast. The BIMSTEC initiative, established in 1997 under the Bangkok Declaration, connects Northeast India with Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Thailand. Then there's the Mekong-Ganga Cooperation, or MGC, launched in 2000. This is a collaborative effort among 6 countries: India, Cambodia, Laos PDR, Myanmar, Thailand, and Vietnam, aimed at promoting cooperation in areas like tourism, culture, and education. Finally, the Bangladesh-Bhutan, India, Nepal, or BBIN Motor Vehicle Agreement, signed in 2015, facilitates seamless cross-border transportation and supports the creation of regional supply chains, particularly enhancing connectivity through Northeast India.
In a landmark development, India and the World Health Organization have partnered to mainstream Ayush globally, marking a significant step toward integrating traditional medicine into international healthcare systems. This collaboration has led to the creation of a dedicated traditional medicine module under the International Classification of Health Interventions, or ICHI. Now, what exactly does this mean? The inclusion of this module grants global recognition to India's traditional systems like Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, and Siddha. For the first time, therapies such as Panchakarma and Yoga will be described in globally recognized scientific terms, ensuring standardization and credibility across borders. To understand the relevance of this move, let's first explore what ICHI is. The International Classification of Health Interventions is designed to support the reporting and analysis of health interventions for both clinical and statistical purposes. And here's something important to understand. A health intervention is defined as an act performed for, with, or on behalf of a person or population with the aim to assess, improve, maintain, promote, or modify health, functioning, or health conditions. Not only that, but it also complements another key classification system, ICD-11. So, what is ICD-11? The International Classification of Diseases 11th revision is the global standard for systematic recording, reporting, analysis, interpretation, and comparison of mortality and morbidity data. It enables countries to identify and track their most pressing health challenges using a classification system that is clinically relevant and up to date. ICD-11 was adopted by the 72nd World Health Assembly in 2019 and officially came into effect on the 1st of January 2022. In terms of scale, ICD-11 is impressive. It includes around 17,000 diagnostic categories and more than 1 lakh medical diagnostic index terms. What makes it even more impactful is that it is the first fully electronic version, offering complete digital accessibility and integration into health systems worldwide. Coming back to ICHI, it is a tool developed by the World Health Organization and its family of international classifications, or WHO-FIC. It is important to note that it covers all sectors of the health system, from acute care, mental health and primary care, to rehabilitation, prevention, public health, and of course, traditional medicine. The introduction of a traditional medicine module under ICHI is a significant advancement. It brings with it multiple benefits, including transparent billing and fair pricing for Ayush services, easier integration of these treatments into health insurance coverage, improved hospital management, better clinical documentation, and a stronger foundation for health research. Ultimately, it also makes Ayush interventions more globally accessible. This progress has been made possible through the TM2 module integration, a collaboration between the Ministry of Ayush and the World Health Organization for the classification of traditional medicine. Under this, various systems have been formally recognized: Ayurveda as the traditional system of Indian medicine, Siddha as traditional Tamil medicine, and Unani as Greco-Arabic medicine. All in all, this development marks a transformative moment, one that places India's traditional healing systems on the global map with scientific recognition, administrative integration, and widespread accessibility. In today's Personality in News, we will talk about the eminent freedom fighter, Kartar Singh Sarabha. He was remembered on his birth anniversary on May 24th. Kartar Singh was an Indian revolutionary born in the village of Sarabha in Ludhiana, Punjab. Now, let's talk about his key contributions. He became a member of the Ghadar Party, founded in Oregon in 1913 to overthrow British rule at the age of 15 and was one of the most active members. He compiled the Punjabi edition of the Ghadar newspaper. Upon returning to India, he focused on mobilizing Indian soldiers to revolt and set up a small-scale arms manufacturing unit in Ludhiana. He was charged with sedition in the Lahore conspiracy case and was executed in 1915 along with his compatriot Vishnu Ganesh Pingle. Through his actions, he embodied the values of bravery, courage, activism, and commitment, among others.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. Prime Minister recently chaired the 10th Governing Council meeting of Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog is a government advisory body set up by a union cabinet decision. It is not a constitutional or statutory body. Governing Council was first constituted in 2015 and reconstituted in 2021. ONGC makes promising oil-gas discoveries in Mumbai offshore basin. The discoveries named Suryamani and Vajramani have been made in blocks awarded under the OLAP regime. Mumbai offshore basin is located about 165 km off the west coast of India and the Arabian Sea. Experts note that despite moringa's immense nutritional and economic value, farmers in Tamil Nadu have yet to fully capitalize on its business potential. Native to India, moringa is now widely cultivated in Asia, Africa, and tropical regions of Central America. Researchers in the US and Japan have discovered that the AREDGAP36 gene is responsible for the unique orange fur in cats. This finding opens avenues for further research into feline health, behavior, and genetics. This gene is found on the X chromosome in mammals, including cats and humans. Chinese scientists have reportedly tested a rotating detonation engine capable of propelling vehicles at hypersonic speeds, over 5 times the speed of sound. Rotating detonation engine is a ring-shaped engine where a detonation wave moves in circles, continuously burning a mix of fuel and oxidizer. IIT Bombay researchers have developed a semi-transparent perovskite solar cell with a 25 to 30% efficiency boost over conventional solar cells, potentially halving costs. Semi-transparent perovskite solar cell is layered over a traditional silicon-based solar cell, forming a 4-terminal tandem structure. Union Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports plans to start massive talent identification drive across the country, wherein any citizen can upload videos of a player's performance on National Sports Repository System portal. This portal is a digital management information system operated by Sports Authority of India. Prime Minister visits Karni Mata Temple in Rajasthan. Karni Mata Temple is located in Bikaner district, Rajasthan, and is dedicated to Karni Mata, believed an incarnation of goddess Durga. Rao Jaitasi built this temple to commemorate the victory of Bikaner king over the Mughal king Kumaran. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solutions to the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description.